order. Roll call, show that Shaquila Willie is remote, and Shonda is absent. Fountain's here, Larry's here, Darrell Williams is here, Ashley Jones is here. Alright, first order of business is the approval of the minutes, and we have two separate packets that we have to approve. First of all is the election of officer minutes. I don't know if you guys had a chance to review those.
Move for approval.
Dick Fountain, is there a second?
Second.
Alright, all those in favor
Yes,
say.
second.
Alright, very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay.
Aye.
Aye. Alright, motion carries. Minutes are approved. The second minutes that we need to approve are the July board meeting minutes from the 21st of July, 2025. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Second. Alright, good. Let's carry the vote. All those in favor of passing the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Very good. Motion carries. All of the minutes have been approved. I don't believe there's any old business on the agenda for today, so we can get into the new business. So the first item that we have is assisted housing.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Assistant Housing Department has one agenda item to bring before the board today, and that is to act on Resolution 2025-19, authorizing the implementation of the National Standards for Physical Inspection of Real Estate, also known as INSPIRE, for the Housing Choice Voucher and Project-Based Voucher Program. Just to give you some background on INSPIRE, on September 29, 2023, the Department of Housing and Urban Development issued PIH Notice 2023-28, INSPIRE Administrative Procedures regarding all Housing Choice Voucher programs. This notice explains that the National Standards for Physical Inspection of Real Estate will replace all housing quality standard guidance issued by HUD. The Huntsville Housing Authority plans to implement these new procedures effective October 1st, 2025. The purpose of this request is to seek board approval to update the current Housing Choice Voucher Administrative Plan effective for October 1st, 2025 to ensure that we are in national compliance with these new affirmative requirements. The justification behind INSPIRE aims to improve confidence in HUD's ability to keep properties in compliance by accurately, assessing the condition of a unit, implementing streamlined inspection processes, and prioritizing the health and safety of our residents. INSPIRE is relevant to public housing programs as well as HUD community planning and development programs and multi-family housing programs. Since inspection standards have not been updated for over 20 years, HUD aims to address industry concerns, modernize inspection technology, and pursuant to congressional direction, align inspection standards across all HUD-assisted properties. The INSPIRE standards, all 259 pages, can be accessed by clicking on the hyperlink provided in this document. We also provided a PDF document that includes a complete list of the INSPIRE standards here as well. We have attached 10 exhibits to act as a chain of records for your reference. There are no alternatives to INSPIRE as this is a mandatory HUD regulated policy. Furthermore, the Executive Director / CEO recommends the approval to update the Housing Choice Voucher Administrative Plan in accordance with the National Standards for Physical Inspection of Real Estate effective October 1st, 2025 for the Housing Choice Voucher Program. With all that being said, are there any questions or comments?
I guess the only one is just to reaffirm that there's not a financial component to this. This is just, we're going to adopt these standards as the way moving forward with it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There are no economic impacts for INSPIRE. this is what we have to do moving forward. We've done HQS for as long as we've known. Now HUD is saying, hey, it's time to implement. However, they did send out a notification on Thursday stating that they were going to extend Inspire again until February 2027. However, my team is ready. We have been getting our landlords ready, and we will move forward with October 1st, 2025.
Sometimes with new standards, when they come out, there's a training component. Are they a lot different from the previous standards, or are they pretty similar, or what's the training?
Both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both, because HQS was just what it was. HQS focused on a generalized housing quality standard. However, the difference that I've noticed with Inspire is that it's a little bit focused more on safety. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read through all of those standards, but for example, the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors. Beforehand, those were not life-threatening violations. Now, under Inspire, the landlords are required to install those. So they're prioritizing safety a little bit more, and in my professional opinion, not as focused on the aesthetics or the cosmetics of the unit like HQS was.
Any other comments or discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. We move on next, next agenda item is with development.
Good afternoon. Hope you all are doing well. So I have one item before you, which is resolution number 2025-20. And it's the act on the resolution authorizing the executive director, CEO, contracting officer to amend the 2024-2028 capital fund plan. And we're amending that plan to include storm doors at Stone Manor. We received in the amount of $66,369 in grant funding for 2024. And we want to be able to use those funds to purchase and install storm doors at Stone Manor. So the recommendation is that the executive director, CEO, contracting officer amend the 2024 capital fund program and the 2024 annual action plan to include the installation of security storm doors at Stone Manor and the execution of all certifications that comes with that amendment. I thought I'd go through, skip the HUD language and get right to what the action is, and it's just amending the plan to add those storm doors to that particular plan. Yes.
Any other discussion or any discussion on this?
The other properties that
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question for you. As far as, I know we're gonna get the storm doors, but did we ever figure out when we're gonna get magnetic access again to those entranceways, or did we just look at, do we still have that system?
Magnetic access to Stone Manor?
No matter. Yeah, you used to have a swipe card to get inside the building, the apartment.
Okay. So I don't know, Miss Willie, but what I will do is follow up to see.
It's keypad access.
It's keypad access according to Neil.
Okay,
So
okay.
does that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
my question is, that there are other properties that, as far as the storm doors are concerned, that's a requirement, or is that, it's just old, they've already been done?
So this is primarily for security, and I'm not saying that the other developments don't need that security. However, once we go through a process every year of trying to determine or triage which developments need what, the highest need for each development. And in our assessment, storm doors at Stone Manor was a high need. And it was already at some point talked about and included in the security of the development, or trying to enhance the security of the development, if that makes sense.
And already budgeted for, or gonna be rebudgeted for in order to cover those?
Well, this particular pot of money is grant funds that we receive, additional grant funds on top of our capital funds. And it's geared strictly towards those storm doors at Stone Manor.
Have we received a quote for, I mean, it's an exact amount of money, I mean, do we have quotes, and has it gone through that part of the process, or was that something we previously did, or is that?
It has not gone through that part of
Okay.
the process. We wrote a grant, and this was the amount that the entity said that we were awarded.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's real specific, huh?
Yeah.
The dollar amount. So the next step, once this is approved, we will then go through the process of, finding a contractor to do that work.
So who we get the grant from?
We got the grant from, I feel like it was called, give me a second, something security. Teresa, can you help me on that?
It's a safety and security
Safety
grant.
and security.
What
yes.
HUD calls those are like boutique grants, that are grants that are outside of regular capital funds, so when they make the NOFA available, those are.
Oh, okay, so
We
it's
went-
through HUD.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
yes, sir. So we applied, and we were able to get
I
this.
thought it would be through Huntsville Utilities or something,
No,
with
sir.
energy.
Just through HUD.
All right, any other discussion? The motion's approved.
So moved.
Second.
All right,
Thank you.
motion is second, let's carry it to vote, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Alright.
Very good, motion carries. Moving on to financial services.
Good afternoon. I have 3 items, and my first one is resolution number 2521. Act on a resolution authorizing executive director, CEO, contracting officer to renew the contract agreement with Wellstone Incorporated to be the sponsor for the Special Needs Assistant Program Grant. The Huntsville Housing Authority was granted renewal of the SNAP grant in the amount of $615,231 to be effective August 1st, 2025. This grant is to assist at least 45 homeless persons annually who are disabled due to chronic mental illness. HHA is required to enter into a contract with the sponsor to operate the program. I couldn't read through all of this, but this is a renewal of this grant that we've had for the last 20 years, working with partnership with Wellstone Incorporated. Of course, the amount we received this year was increased over last year. And also, I want to know, if you notice, in previous years, it stated it was 49 individuals we would help. This year, it's 45. That's what the number was based on. But we will utilize those dollars to house as many people as we can for this particular grant. So the partnership has worked well, and this is just a resolution 2025-21 for the renewal of this grant. And it runs from August 1st to July 31st of next year.
Did we expend all the grant funding last year?
No, sir, we did not.
Okay, and what,
So,
just, I don't, yeah, it's one of these things that, you know, the homeless is
Okay.
growing, and there's a pot of money in it, and,
so this pot of money comes with a designation of chronically homeless and mentally ill.
okay,
So I will say that Wellstone has increased the number of tenants that we house, but this particular grant are funds that end up usually going back to HUD because we do not get them all spent. But it's based on utilization and getting the right people in there, and most likely those individuals are clients of Wellstone, so they have to meet the criteria.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you say some of this money will most likely go back to? Is that
Yes,
what-
sir, it does return back.
They do
They
that.
do recapture if we do not spend.
and the process, they would, do they come into Wellstone first, and then they're the assessing, and then they try to place them, and they're not going into, I guess what, is it more like Section 8, just to find them a place, or is it within our housing?
No, it's not within our housing stock.
Okay, all right.
Wellstone is the leader of the grant, and
Okay.
they meet with the landlords and they secure the units
Okay.
for the tenants. But you must understand, these individuals are challenged in particular ways that require the assistance of Wellstone.
Okay.
So they're trying to house as many people as they can, but you have to find landlords that are willing to take these tenants.
Very good. Any discussion on the continuation of the grant? Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval of the resolution as presented.
I'll second on resolution 2025-21.
Very good. We've got a motion and a second, so let's carry the votes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Aye.
Very good. Motion carries.
My next item is resolution number 2025-22. Act on a resolution authorizing quarterly charge-offs for the period ending September 30th, 2025. The Huntsville Housing Authority has on its books $28,546.70 owed by former residents who vacated June 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2025. The purpose of this request is to charge off, and that should be 42 former residents' accounts for the total amount of $28,446.70 as collection loss for the period ending September 30th, 2025. The 24 vacated former resident accounts consist of 18 accounts for non-payment of rent, 4 nursing home replacements, and 2 deceased residents. The 18 evicted accounts consist of 9 accounts for non-payment of rent, 5 accounts for criminal activity, and 4 accounts for non-payment of rent and maintenance charge. The justification, this action is necessary to remove uncollectible amounts from HHA's books. The economic impact is an expense of $28,546.70. However, this amount is subject to partial recovery through the collection process. The breakdown of charges off is as follows: rent, $21,847.50, maintenance charges, $876.30, court costs, $4,567.90, late charges, $1,365. There are no other applicable alternatives, and the spreadsheet is attached, and this is resolution number 25-2022 to write off the uncollectible amount of $28,546.70.
For that, is there any discussion on the write-offs? All right, no questions. Is there a motion to approve the charge-offs?
Motion to approve resolution number 2025-22.
Thank you for that. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's carry the votes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.
All right, my last item. My last item is to discuss the financials for July 31st, 2025, beginning with total revenue. I'll begin here because I know each time I speak about our management fees. So we were able to draw down our funds for 2024, which at this point you still see that this amount is still unfavorable. We put in the budget to be able to draw down 2024 and 2025, but we're only going to be able to draw 2024 because 2025 is not available to be drawn, and will probably not be available for December 31st. So we will plan to spend those monies in the next budget that you will receive, that we will do for next year. So I just wanted to explain that. Also, interest income. I went to training last week, and I just want to state this, that I learned at training that the interest that we receive within public housing, we are only allowed to keep $500 of that money. Moving forward, it was in the operating subsidy, for 2024 and 2025. Anything that a housing authority earns over $500 must be returned to health and management services. We can no longer count this as income on our books. I was devastated.
Yeah.
Needless to say, we got this CD revenue of $113,000 that we will have to return. I was instructed by the trainer there, I'm gonna put it on my books, we're gonna put it on the books as an accounts payable, but we're gonna wait for her to tell us we gotta send it. So, just to let you know, that's gonna affect our bottom line, where we have planned for this interest income, you're gonna see a greater loss, but I learned this in class.
So that's something new that
It's in-
wasn't communicated?
It's communicated in our operating subsidy, our PIH numbers, that's where it's communicated. And that is a requirement, of course, to read through that notice, the entire notice, and then it was pointed out to us in class, because we're among accounting professionals in that class, and the trainer wanted us to know, this is an expectation, so, anyway. That was, I'm glad I went to training, but it doesn't help our bottom line, so I just wanted to let you know that when you get your financials next month, you will see that that interest income will be budgeted at $500. And what I wanted to make sure of is that hopefully, not that this helps, but is it $500 for the whole authority or $500 by him? That's not clear in the wording in the document, so the question will be posed. But to be safe and to follow the regulation, we will only keep $500. And this is the same for Section 8. Section 8 has always set their $500, anything over $500 to that service, but this is specified in our operating subsidy right now.
Is that something that the audits that we've had over the last few years maybe should have caught and alerted us to? I mean,
Well, I will say this, we are on a 21-month year, so we have not had an audit since 3/31/2024, because we are in a transition period where we have 21 months of financial. I would think CLA would catch that once they come here in February, come to do our audit, we'll see. So, yes, sir.
all right,
But,
very good.
all right, now that we know what's going on with interest income, moving forward, we did have some other income that I've spoken to in the class, pass number 3, the receipt of Stone Ridge Village developer fee and a prior year insurance settlement amount. Moving forward to total administration, we're pretty much online overall. The expenses are in line with the budget, they're offset by travel expenses and audit fees. The administrative expenses are expected to be in line with the budget, so we do expect to be trending the way we are. Total tenant services, at this time, moving through July through August, we still did not have to allocate any part of resident services, salary and benefits. That will begin in September, because I believe we exhausted all of that money in that line item for FSS, so you will see that line in the next financials in 2 months. You will see that we should be within budget, but we will start to utilize those dollars that we have budgeted for. Moving forward to total utilities, where this was already pointed out, but electric and gas, when I complete the budget revision, will be closer in our estimate of what the remainder of the year will look like. Even overall, we're favorable, but also electric, that's the main one right now, the utilization there. The budget was too low, I'll say that, so we will make sure that, I don't like the word true up, but I'll take actual and we'll complete an estimate. Moving forward down the page to casualty loss, the budget was for $25,000 for one unit. We do have another unit that we will also have a $25,000 casualty loss for a car ran into a building. So that will be part of our expense for this calendar year. And then we also incurred an additional amount, so we'll be over the $25,000 deductible here. Moving forward to capital asset addition, the elevator is complete and installed, and that's within line of budget, even though, the budget is prorated. Here you see 7 months of budget, 7 months of actual. So overall, the decrease in the unrestricted debt position is $120,000, of 2,706.94 versus a budget of 476,156.58. So overall, we're controlling the expenses and revenue is slightly down, so that explains our variance, which is going to increase once I move our interest in. But I didn't want you to be shocked when you see it, so I want to let you know now that it is forthcoming.
I appreciate the heads up on that. On the utilities,
Mhm.
with Huntsville Utilities going to their new software program, they were returning deposits.
Yes.
Does that affect us?
Oh, no, sir, we don't.
Okay, we didn't know if we had any deposits.
No.
Okay.
No, we don't have any deposits that will return to us, so no.
Very good. Just a general update, so there's nothing to be voted on with that. So, thank you for the update on the financials. Moving on, executive director comments?
Just a few, one, our curfew that we instituted back in June is coming to an end in September. As of right now, we haven't made any decisions to extend it. And probably, since days are getting shorter, we might not have to. We'll just have to see. The residents really have enjoyed it, but, hopefully with the weather changing, there won't be a lot of people hanging out as much anyway. So we'll just kind of play that by ear. We're not gonna make any announcements about it, but at the same time, we did say in the letter that it would end in September, so. Also, we've had a lot of conversation with developers about public-private partnerships. I think this is a good time for us to start entertaining developers, especially if they can put more units out there in the community for us. So we've just been having a lot of conversation, nothing in stone, but, it's good to know that there are still some people out there willing to do some affordable units. And so we've been having those conversations. We should get a letter, the declaration of trust from the field office today, to go ahead and finalize the sale of the hospital of the Gateway Lane. That's been a long time coming, so we should get that today. And that'd be good for us to continue that partnership with the, hospital. We've been doing a lot of just assessments with residents in different places as well about working and opportunities that are available. One of the things that we're going to be doing is applying for this Jobs Plus grant. And it's gonna give us an opportunity to really focus in on our North Woods community, to get those residents who are work, age related, an opportunity to get the training and skills that they need to go out and work. It's a 5-year grant with a lot of incentives, not only for the residents, but for the housing authority as well. That grant is due by the 25th or 26th of October. So we're working on that now with the grant writing company. It can give us an opportunity to really allow some movement with those residents who are looking to work. And I think this would be a good opportunity for us. I want to go back to on the energy grants that Mr. Poundley talked about. Huntsville Utilities reached out to us, but it really was just kind of too late to do some grants with them at the last minute. They have like a 2-3 week window. So we're just gonna wait till their next fiscal cycle to try to see if we can come back up with some opportunities for some grants with them. And I guess that's about it right now. We just kind of really working with a lot of the residents to try to get them to a level where they can just benefit from all this change coming into Huntsville. And so we'll be doing a lot more of that, working with some of the partners that we have to see if we can move the needle as it relates to employment opportunities for our residents. And that's it.
Is there a specific focus type of employment in a particular area, or is it just kind of general?
Yeah, so the last grant we had was construction. This is general in everything. This is just kind of moving the needle. And one of the good things about it, it gives a pause on rent for some of those residents if they increase. But it also has an opportunity for us as a housing authority where we're not penalized for the increase. We can write that into the grant, which is different from past, if a resident got an opportunity and they paused, you know, the rents, the housing authority wouldn't benefit. But in this grant, they give us an opportunity to benefit as well, as increase in income per family is connected to the grant. So I like that part as well.
The Food City initiative, have they reached out to the housing authority, like, I know a couple of residents that, like, got management positions that are really changing their lifestyle with, good income, but I also heard that a lot of, talking to, said at, Urban Strategies, that there were a lot of jobs that, I guess, all kind of entry level and.
Yeah, there's a challenge even with that. So we've been doing a pretty good job of getting people new jobs. The residents are having a hard time reporting that income. And so we really have to do a better job of educating. I think one of the things that I share with those of us who went to the annual meetings, right now our average income of residents is $15,000. Whether those residents go out and get a job making 30, they still need to understand they can't afford $700 a month, which limits them to pretty much being with us. And so getting them to understand, okay, if I gotta pay $600, $700 to stay in Bulletaires, at least I got a roof over my head and I'm growing, because I don't have anywhere else to go. And I think that becomes the challenge, getting them to understand, well, this is all you can afford, keep the job, and hopefully there'll be some opportunities that come where we can get more housing. That's tough, you know, because that's exactly what they're saying, is I don't wanna pay this much to live in public housing. But the other side is either I quit, or, you know, I give up the job, or don't pay anything, so.
What are ways to help with that education? Is it just being?
I just think it's about relationship building,
Yeah.
individual, making that relationship, whether that be property managers, urban strategies, other folks. We gotta make those connections where people understand that, hey, it's better for you to be working instead of just sitting back, relaxing, and not doing anything because you're afraid to pay that rent, especially now that more jobs are coming online. It's just educating residents on what they can do.
Shifting gears a little bit, yeah, reading the tea leaves of the administration and next year in HUD, I mean, is it, any idea on what the complexion's gonna look like, or what change looks like?
Well, I knew this information about the, I guess in March, we heard about that at a conference, about the interest income. I can see more of that happening. That's why it's important for us to make sure that funds that could be geared toward other items or put other places, we go ahead and allocate those funds, any capital fund, because anything that I feel like now that's just out there saying that we have a safety net is not gonna be a safety net anymore. They're gonna start recapturing a lot of this, and that's why we need to be developing or using those funds and having it allocated somewhere, because there's gonna be a lot of recapture, I think.
And I will speak to, like with operating subsidy, what they're requiring us now to do is that when they're requiring us to report operating subsidy, their thought is tenant rent is the first money you spend, then operating subsidy. And by the time we get to the end of the year, we have to show that we spent all that money. If not, and I've never seen this in 20 years, they want us to send operating subsidy back. And that, I've been in business 20 years, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we just all need to be prepared,
yes.
be creative, be on the ball with this, so it's good times. All right, very good. Time for public comments. Anybody signed up for public comments? Very good. Commissioner comments? Ms. Willie, any comments? Yes, not.
Well, I have a comment real quick.
Yeah.
I went to the conference in Washington, D.C., and it was very interesting. I kind of sent Tony a summary of what I learned. It's kind of disheartening. One of the quotes that broke my heart when I was at the conference was they said public housing was a failed experience. And so I kind of looked back over public housing, and I didn't consider, a lot of people in the room kind of agreed to disagree with it, but I don't feel like it's a failed experience. But they did have a checklist of things that public housing and Section 8 programs should be doing. And I just want to commend HHA Public Housing. We are doing an exceptional job because I shared with Tony the list of things that they wanted us to do to prepare for the upcoming year, depending on how funding will go. And I'm going to pull it real quick, and I won't hold y'all long. They said that we needed to, Tony, you can chime in. My computer's a little slow. Here it is. So some of the things they said to prepare for what's to come. So they told us to have like, what are we going to do with our self-sufficient program? And I think our self-sufficient program is phenomenal. So we're already doing that. They talked about the home ownership program, focus on the home ownership program. Also, sorry guys.
No, you're good.
And they also told us to have success stories for our residents. We do a great job at the success story of your residents because that's what they want to see in DC. Because a lot of people in DC just want to go away with public housing, Section 8, and the Section 3 program. And they also told us to know more and have plans for our operating fund reserves. So we pretty much have a plan, and everything they talked about, I'm like, hey, we're already doing it. So congrats to HHA. So just wanted to give you an update on the final conference there. Met a lot of great people, talked about a lot of great things. So I won't hold you guys long, but it was good information. Some of it was sad, you don't want to hear about Congress, but it's not something that they're supposed to have something, a deadline on September 1 is supposed to happen, but they are not like saying eye to eye, so it's not something that's going to happen immediately. They can't come to an agreement. So it's nothing that we're going to have any fear, according to what they say, any fear in 2026. But I don't know about years to come, so just want to give a quick update.
Thank you for that. Do you
I
remember who made the comment about public housing being a failed experiment? Was that a HUD official or an elected official?
So it was a elected official, I'm going to tell you his exact name. I did take some notes.
No, he's not up there
Eventually,
anymore.
when I get to that in, it came from, one second, it was a part of the Senate, and Jason Woolen and Jessica Stone were, they're part of the Senate appropriation, I can't say, right, committee. And he said that's how some of the Senate called it the failed, it was a failed, public housing was a failed experience. So Jason Woolen.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah, Ms. Willie, thank you for taking the time to go up there and do that. And that's great that's great that you're up there. And can you share the notes that you took with me? Do you mind?
Yes, I'll send them out to all the commissioners
Okay.
in more detail and send it to Tony at the end. I sure will.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
there's another conference coming up in October, and this is it's in Atlanta, and it's for commissioners talking about this information. I'll send that out to you, you can share it with the board members.
Okay.
It's not necessarily, it's by commissioners, consultants and former members of, housing authorities in HUD. Henry Nelson, that used to be our portfolio manager, he's actually helping host that. And, good information about what's about to take place as well, but it's for commissioners, so I'll send it out. to you.
Okay, perfect, I'll get that distributed. Mr. Fountain, do you have any comments?
Just a thought, following up, kind of the theme of recapture and requisition and funds and all, we may wanna have some kind of obligation of funds, even if it's a redevelopment or a project that we don't necessarily finalize or, follow through with, but I think, I don't know how much we have sitting in reserves right now, but if they come forward, it'd be nice to say, we've got that 4 million or whatever it is
Executive Director McGinnis, yeah. he talked to me
obligated
about that.
to this. Okay.
Mhm.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's good. Everyone?
That's it. Sounds good.
Very good. Just my comments. I enjoyed doing the AI workshop with the team here. It was actually a lot of fun, a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good opportunity. But it's something that I think is important for us to explore. Again, it's another way to be clever and just using the tools that are with us to see what we can do to just be a little more lean, a little more mean, and have some of those strategic tools at our disposal. So proud of the group for participating in that and for Tony to set that up. That is all that I have got. All right, meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Good.